start with a shocking news from the world of football. The European Police Agency says that more than 680 football matches, including the World Cup qualifier and a Champions League game, they all were fixed in Europe. In fact, Europol says that they had uncovered an organized crime syndicate based in Asia that was coordinating the operation. Some 425 match officials, club officials, players and criminals are suspected of being involved. At a news conference in The Hague, Europol claimed that the fixed Champions League tie took place in the last 3 or 4 years in England, but the identity of that match cannot be revealed due to ongoing judicial proceedings. Officials fear that this is actually just the tip of the iceberg.
We have uncovered an extensive criminal network involved in widespread football match fixing. A total of 425 match officials, club officials, players and serious criminals from more than 15 countries are suspected of being involved in attempts to fix more than 380 professional football matches. The activities form part of a sophisticated organised crime operation which generated over 8 million euros in betting profits and involved the payment of at least 2 million euros in corrupt payments to those involved in the matches.
Right, joining us for more on this, Barney Rooney, who is a journalist with The Guardian, someone who's covered the sport for many, many years. Barney, thank you so much for talking to us. First of all, what more can you tell us about this whole match-fixing allegation? Reports about that particular, or in fact, two matches, Champions League ties that seem to have been fixed in England. What more can you give us, the details on this particular investigation?
Hi. Well, perhaps the most interesting thing is that I can't give you much more than that. I mean, this really has come out of the blue. It's we have people following these kind of stories constantly, and this really is a bolt from the blue. The figures involved are so alarming. 380 matches, 400. I mean, I don't quite know where they get such precise numbers. 425 people, officials and players, and really everybody's waiting to see what comes out of this next, because it really has come like a bolt from the blue.
Barney, you're someone who's covered this sport. You're someone who's always known everything that goes around the sport, on and off the pitch. I mean, like you said, this is a bolt from the blue, but was there any inkling? Was there ever this suspicion around any of the matches that, that journalists talked about? Was that ever a part of that chatter between the journalists?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I cover cricket a lot as well, and we've had this in cricket a fair bit, and generally people do have a good idea in cricket when something's been fixed. I was there at Lords when Mohammed, let me just get this right, Mohammed Amir bowled his no ball, and frankly, immediately there was a suspicion that something wasn't right there. We've all seen cricket matches where we felt something's wrong, but in football, this has just never come up. You never tend to get that feeling in English football. And although there have been things in the past, we've had players admitting they've betted on when the first throw-in will be, and they've just booted the ball out straight from kickoff. In terms of results and goals, nothing like the feeling you sometimes have had in cricket in the past. No suspicion at all.
But, when we get to know more and more about the matches that they've investigated and the matches that have been suspicious, this just does not augur well for the future of football in the world.
Well, it's a difficult one. In some ways, you could say one of the reasons why there is so much gambling on the English Premier League, there's so much betting, it's a massive market in the Far East, is because it is generally trusted to be straight. And I mean, these matches that have been played at the Champions League games, in terms of the English League, that's always involved another team. And I suspect we may find that it's not actually British players involved in this. For a start, the players are very, very well paid. I don't know why they would bother getting involved with something like this. But beyond our shores, across Eastern Europe, there has been talk of this, to be honest, in other countries. I wouldn't like to kind of defame any particular nation, but some parts of Eastern Europe, it's not quite as rigidly staffed as here. Players are not paid as well, and there's a lot more mafia and gangster involvement, and you do hear some talk there. So I imagine we may find people looking more towards Eastern Europe.
Barney Ronay, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all those details. Yes, at the moment, a devastating day for world football after that investigation from Europol.